Okay, so metal.
Metal.
The show's about metal.
What is metal? We're going to spread the hidden value in music.
We're going to proselytize. We're going to get the word out there.
We are.
That's important.
Hey guys, welcome to the Great Metal Podcast, where we are bringing the world of metal to the world. You've got Shredmaster, Power Metal Pete, and I am the Metal Evangelist Luke. That's spelled with one L and one K.
Is there another way to spell Luke? What the hell?
Good question.
As you could Lucas.
That would be with a C.
Yeah.
So there you go. One L, one K. There's
Perfect.
a couple other letters in there.
Just vowels. They're
Yeah.
kind of important.
Yeah. I mean, some Finnish words might not have vowels in them.
I think we need to start with a celebration because we got episode 128 downloads and counting.
Yeah, and by 128, he might mean 128 million. We're not 100% sure. We couldn't see all the zeros on the end.
Sometimes they cut those to make the number easier to read.
Right.
Yeah.
Too big of a number, and then you just get confused.
So what's our topic for today?
Well, in honor of International Women's Day, which isn't today, we like to celebrate women on more days than just one day.
Every day is International Women's Day, let's be honest.
That's right. So today we thought we would chat a little bit about the best female-fronted metal bands. And there are some good ones.
There are a lot.
There really are.
Yeah.
We've got a list pulled up here, which starts with the biggest. They're doing it by listeners. So I don't know if they're getting like the sound scan, play, or I don't know where the plays are coming from or the listens. Maybe it's Spotify.
I don't know. What website are you on?
Oh, well, that's irrelevant to where they're getting
Yeah.
but anyways,
That's secret intel.
it's secret intel. Nightwish is number one on the list with 1.4 million listeners.
Now, that's an interesting thing, though, because Nightwish has had 3 front metal women. So,
You kind of that's a triple
Well,
threat femme fatale.
Yeah. So you're saying like they would have more listeners maybe if they had a different
No,
metal singer?
I'm
knows?
saying, like, how do you rate the best? Are we rating the best metal female singer or the best female fronted band, I guess, is what we're
Well, I guess we're coming at it from different angles. So,
Yeah.
there's the popularity aspect, but then there's our own subjective opinions on who we think is best. But they've had 3 different vocalists. So it started with Tara Turner, or however you say her last name.
Yes.
Right?
Very difficult to
And
pronounce
then
Finnish names.
Annette, what was her last
Olsen.
name? Olsen.
She was Swedish though.
Was
And
she only recorded on one album? Or
I believe
I
so.
think it was
just one? Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Because, she was having like a kid or something that probably,
Yeah, I
got
think
in
she
the
was
way.
just on Dark Passion Play.
Yeah.
And
She toured for the album before.
Correct.
But she was only recorded on.
Yeah.
I believe so. And then she left for personal reasons. And so then they picked up Floor Jansen to tour with.
Right.
While they were looking for another singer. And then she became a permanent member in like 2014 maybe.
Which I think Flora is my personal pick out of those 3, just for a lot of reasons. Like her technique and proficiency as a singer is amazing, but she's got this crazy stage presence. She's about 6'3".
Yeah.
I actually auditioned for one of her bands, Revamp, once. Went to her house, met her, and she's just a powerful musician. Plus the presence. When she puts boots on, she's probably 6'6", 6'7".
6.66?
6.66. Yeah, that's a good call on that.
Yeah,
Probably, yeah.
Well, that's a really that's an interesting band to look at when you're talking about metal singers, because like all 3 of them are actually radically different styles.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say.
So-
They all brought something
So
very
maybe we could go
different.
around like who do you prefer out of the 3,
Yeah.
Me is Floor. I choose Floor.
Shredmaster chooses Floor. I'm gonna choose the same because I feel like what we were talking about it being a totally radically different sounds. To me, the overall sound of the band, I feel the best with Floor.
Yeah.
Well, I think particularly their music once Floor joined, so like everything after Dark Passion Play, Floor's vocal quality definitely matches the music better because Floor is more like a power metal singer. You know, Annette Olson was more like that rocky type singer, like rocky.
They had that
Yeah.
kind of like
She didn't.
bluesy thing going on in that album that she was on. Yeah.
Because Annetta by far could get the lowest, but like Tara was like this female, like operatic, like soprano opera singer,
Yeah.
which I love in metal. When you have like the really heavy, earthy metal, and then you have this really airy, sky high vocals, and like
Contrast.
I can probably only think of maybe. Well, Simone Simmons is also that operatic with Epica. She just, I mean, it's like listening to an opera. It's unbelievable. But the other two don't do that. Floor's range is really good, but she's got so much like air and power when she sings, right? But it's not that super like thin, high vocal range. So I don't know. In terms of my personal favorite, I would probably have to say Tara, and that would probably not go over super well with a lot of Nightwish fans right now. But I think Floor, her vocals actually match the music better.
Well, that's what I was saying. The musicality of I feel like it's the best fit. I liked a lot of the stuff with Tara. So certainly like, and I'll go back, listen to the old Nightwish all the time.
Man, that's one thing that, you know, is easy to overlook. Chemistry within the band, you know, it's like, okay, great, you want to start a band, but what if you get, you know, you just don't harmonize well with the other members or whatever? You got to look around till you find the right fit.
Because the last thing you want is to Yoko Ono your band.
Oh, well.
So I Yoko Ono'd my band back in high school.
Wait a minute, how?
There was a girl. We had just gotten
talking
invited
about-
to go
yeah.
play at the University of Michigan or Michigan State. One of the two. I don't remember which
Really?
one.
Wow.
Yeah. So we
Bro.
played a local festival in northern Michigan. Not saying that's where we are now. And then we got asked to come down and play at one of the two universities. I don't remember which one it was. But there was this girl and all the other guys were like, dude, you got to practice with the band more and stop hanging out with this girl. And I was like, frick you
Luke,
guys.
you simped it up.
And
is
I
what
ran
you
away
did.
with this girl. I totally Yoko Ono'd the band.
Disaster.
Well, we call that simping now, but I get I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Don't simp, by the way, for anybody who's listening. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do it.
Despite
Don't do it.
the fact that we're talking about female vocalists. So should we move on to the next band?
Let's do it. Let's move on.
The next band by listener count is Within Temptation at
Sharon
1 million.
Denadell.
1 million listeners. And again, I don't know if that's Spotify plays or whatever where that stat is coming from, but
I mean, I would ask again, what website are you on?
the website is tag female plus fronted plus metal artists. So they're not getting the stats from the site. They're
Sounds
getting
like tags on a website.
Yeah.
Like what's the root URL?
Who cares? I have no idea. That's not
It's
gonna,
usually in the URL bar, but
it's last.fm/tag/female.
Oh,
plus
Last.fm.
front.
Yeah. So that's like an online FM radio station.
Oh, so maybe
Maybe by their listeners.
I'm sure it's by their
maybe
listeners
it's by their
Yeah.
list then. Okay.
Yeah, Last.fm.
All right. So according to that was a good thing you asked that then, Luke. According to Last FM is where these stats are coming from.
Yeah.
So Within Temptation, Dutch symphonic metal.
Yeah. Sharon Denadell, she would fit in very much with Floor. I mean, she's a power metal singer. Tremendous force behind her vocals. Interestingly enough, they have a song out. Shoot, I can't remember what it's called, but they have Tara on the song.
Oh yeah, we were just listening to that.
Yeah, Adele and Tara. It looks like it's called
Paradise?
Paradise. Yeah.
What About Us?
Yeah, Paradise subtitle, What About Us?
I don't know if they can see that, but here she is. Within Temptation. Are you tempted by looking at this picture?
So if you follow us on Instagram, which you should, there's a picture of 3 female metal vocalists. The one on the far right is Sharon Den Adele.
And if you follow us on Instagram, let us know your favorite female metal vocalist, and we might bring that up in future episodes too. Submit questions about it to greatmetalpodcast@gmail.com as well if you got questions for us to address live on the show.
Yeah.
I actually don't know that much about this band, so I don't really have an opinion.
Within Temptation?
Yeah.
Yeah, really good. Actually, for anybody that's interested, so the keyboardist to Within Temptation, cannot think of his name right now, damn it, but he's amazing. He writes all the music, and then he has a side project that he started called Delain, Delain. Also an incredibly good female-fronted metal band, but I don't think it's Sharon Den Adele that sings on it.
Someone else.
Yeah.
Well, the next band in the list, I think, is more popular overall, although I don't know how we would figure that out. Epica.
Oh, yeah.
So
Here we go.
Epica has Simone Simmons, who I think is kind of in that Floor Jansen category as well. She's just she's got some serious technique.
You know, funny, it's like I haven't listened to a ton of Epica, but I like her voice on the Arion projects.
Oh yeah,
You know.
right.
Yeah, Epica, Simone Simmons, she can go crazy soprano as well, like Tara can. I'm thinking back to the album, what was it called? Oh man, it's going to make me look bad here. Here we go.
Epica was founded by Mark Jansen. Is he related to Floor?
No,
They're not related.
it is
Interesting.
just a coincidence.
Yep, I think that's a fairly common name. It's like Smith for Americans. The Phantom Agony. Yeah, so the Phantom Agony, which may have been their first album. I'm not sure.
Here, I'm trying to pull up a shot of Simone Simmons.
Woo, let me tell you,
There she is.
Phantom Agony is incredible. Can we get some thumbs up? Some thumbs up?
There's
on
no
Twitch?
way you guys can see that clearly. From,
We'll have to
angle,
use
but-
some movie magic or something later.
Yeah.
Maybe, you could throw in some pics.
Yeah. Throw in some pics.
So what we should do is like rate each of these bands maybe out of 10 or something, just to give people an idea of what we prefer. Like I think I like. Wow, do I like Epica more than Nightwish?
Wow.
Maybe.
Interesting.
Maybe. Yeah, I think I do.
Oh!
I think they're. I have to re-listen, but they're a little bit more adventurous in their songwriting structure sometimes.
I would love to know why you think that. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, Tuomos has some incredible compositions.
He does, but he rarely plays like his music isn't very interlaced with chromaticism. He really kind of stays within the scale most of the time. Not all the time, but Epica, like I'd have to re-listen to that stuff, but I think Epica sort of goes in and out of key a little bit more, which just to me, I like better. That's just a personal preference thing.
Yeah. I think, Power Metal Pete, what do you think?
About Epica? Or?
Yeah, well, like out of the 3 bands.
Out of the
we've
3
discussed-
bands, I've by far and away listened to Nightwish the most. But I really like Nightwish, so I think I would put them right up there at the top of my list in general of bands, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Even dude bands with dude singers.
Yeah, even bands with dude singers.
Well, does anybody else sing
Although
in the
I
band?
also-
They probably do, right?
Also, like bands with dude singers that sound like chicks. So there's that too. I don't know. In
you
metal,
know,
sometimes,
you know what it is though. In general, it's kind of what you mentioned before we went on air here, or we're not actually on air, but
Yeah.
when you get up high, what that does is it's clarity from the rest of the mix. So it's a general
It's an EQ
orchestration
thing.
It's also it's an orchestration principle. If you have too many things happening within the band in the same frequency range, it's not clear. So if you can get up high, like a woman can, or some dudes, then there's a lot more clearness in the musical, statement you're trying to make.
Well, with singing, that can happen in different ranges, but with a little bit of background in sound design on film, that was the thing. Like, if you wanted the vocals to come through, there's a pretty narrow bandwidth that most just like vocals, not singing, human spoken word comes in. And so if you have background noises and stuff, you want to always make sure they're never in that range.
Right.
Because then your vocal, even if there's like cars driving and things that you want as sound setting noise, it doesn't compete with the vocals if you keep them in their band.
Yeah, yeah, it's a whole thing. It's kind of like why 8 and 9 string guitars are maybe a little. Some people are like, nah, it doesn't quite work, or they fire their bass player because now they basically have all that range available to them on the one instrument. So yeah, you got to make a distinction between, hey, this is where this part is happening, and this is where another part is happening, essentially.
Right.
So would we call this like acoustics?
Well, EQ mixing.
Yeah.
It's a mixing thing. When you mix,
Could
you
we
wanna
could
separate
we
things
start
out.
a trend and call it aural physics?
Oral physics?
Not oral with an O.
Right, no.
Aural
Yeah, no, I got
with an AU.
Not getting a blowjob from a barracuda.
You don't want that, BJ.
That's oral. But oral.
Oral pain.
Oral.
Oral suffering.
oral with an O right there.
Oral angst.
So this just goes on. I don't know. There's Arch Enemy is that's a big band.
Now, does anybody here listen to Arch Enemy?
Not really. Although I do know Jeff Loomis. He's the guitar player. I have a lot of respect for him. He's an insane guitar player.
Well,
Alyssa White Ghouls is the female fronted vocalist. She is good. I'm not a huge fan of Arch Enemy's music in general or anything, but
I'm curious as to what the Metal Evangelists list of top female fronted vocalist bands, metal bands. That's a mouthful.
Yeah. Well, here's what I'm going to proselytize.
Yeah.
I can't talk about female metal vocalists. First of all, like everything we've talked about, Nightwish and Epica, these guys are amazing. Most of you listening right now probably know these bands. When I start talking about female-fronted bands, I automatically go to Beauty and the Beast metal. I love the contrast between the clean, high-pitched female and grunting.
Yeah.
That contrast is so powerful to me. And so very first thing I go to is Morten Veland, right? I mean, so he started Tristania and Sirenia and Mortamia. I like it how he named a band after himself.
Mortamia.
And
I like Sirenia a lot.
yes.
That's great
Now,
music.
you want to talk about the struggle to find a female singer? Literally every single Sirenia album has a new female singer. They perpetually have issues keeping a female singer.
dude, this is just like bands just suck because of that.
Oh,
One of the reasons band sucks.
we should get Morton on the podcast and talk to him about his struggles of getting a female singer, because it's been a nightmare for him for sure. To the point where he's actually, so their first album at Sixes and Sevens, he had to hire a session singer. I can't remember her name. She was an Italian singer.
So good.
He had to hire her to record the album because he was having so much trouble finding a singer.
Wow.
And then he got one for the second album, and then she left, and then he got another one for the third album, and she left. And I think they're on their fourth or fifth singer now.
Yeah, man. Everybody's got their own personal lives, their own things going on.
Yeah, it's tough.
it's quite a challenge to keep a band going.
And a lot of it comes from, like, I don't think bands like that make a ton of money, which we talked about in the first episode.
No.
Like, and if you don't make a bunch of money, that means you got to be doing something else too. And then all of a sudden you don't have infinite amount of time. And so now you're dividing your time up and something's going to give, right?
Hey,
And-
the At Sixes and Sevens was released May 21st. That's my birthday.
Whoa. Was it released on the year you were born?
No, it wasn't.
Oh.
2002. I'm not that young.
Not quite.
Yeah. So, Morten Veland, obviously, he's amazing. But I would say probably the two that have both, male singing, grunting, and female operatic stuff, Therion and Draconian. It's hard to get better than those bands. When Shred talks about the feels, like how music makes you feel, it is very difficult for me to get past those bands because they're so effing good. I mean, they touch me in a very appropriate spot in my soul.
Was a French female vocalist that was on
At
Sixes and Sevens.
Oh, she was from France.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I botched that one. Thanks for the
That's
correction.
like that Beauty and the
Progressive
Beast thing too,
power
right?
metal.
You're talking about Draconian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Draconian has Beauty and the Beast. Therion has it.
The dude growls and the chick goes for the light operatic high stuff.
And sometimes the dude goes for the light operatic high stuff on Therion.
Yeah. And in Draconian, the dude will sometimes do like clean vocals, but like spoken word almost.
Yeah.
And very, very powerful.
Yeah, right.
The other thing with Morten Veland, particularly with Sirenia, is he'll have two different grunters. So he'll have a high grunter and a low grunter.
Oh yeah.
And that is just, and they'll sometimes do, what is it called? Like one guy sings one part and the next guy comes in and sings part, and then the low guy comes in, then the high guy, low guy, high guy.
Call and response.
Call and response.
Yeah, it's a blues concept. Yeah.
Yeah, well, he perfected it with metal grunting vocals.
Yeah.
And it is so powerful to get that low, throaty growl, and then the high, screaming growl. And then the chick comes in and just gives you an orgasm.
Yeah, it gives you a lot of variation. So Epica, though, would also be Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
They do that too.
Mark Jansen's a fantastic grunter.
Yeah.
And so, they're definitely Beauty and the Beast.
Okay, so who else is on your list
Of
female-fronted
band?
metal bands?
Oh, man. I mean, I listen to a lot of them. Those are definitely the ones that are on constant repeat for me. I'm trying to think of some like more lesser known ones.
The Agonist.
I don't listen to the Agonist much.
Lunatica.
I have one Lunatica album. It's been a long time since I've listened to it. I don't think they're a Beauty and the Beast, though.
I have no idea. I'm just reading the list here.
Oh.
Eden Bridge. Did we talk about Eden Bridge?
Oh,
We haven't.
Edenbridge. It's been a while since I listened to those guys.
Yeah.
But they're pretty good, too.
From Austria.
They're very good. I was thinking of Ed Guy, but that's Tobias Sammet.
Right.
Eden Bridge is really good. I'll tell you, Shred and I were talking last night. We were talking about some of the doom metal, and there's a band called, well, if you're English, it looks like Theaters des Vampires, but I think they pronounce it Theater des Vampires, and they're, I believe, Italian, and they're a vampire doom band.
Wow.
Now I will tell you what, female fronted. I don't know her name. I should look that up. Just like haunting melodies. Haunting. You listen to stuff, you get like scared if you're in the dark. You sometimes you shiver
That's
a little bit.
specific
Woo!
genre, vampire doom.
Yeah. So it's doom, but they sing a lot about vampirism and
Yeah,
stuff.
like What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It fit in really, really well, except it's not comedy.
They should make the soundtrack for them.
I wonder how they feel about garlic, how far they take it. They're
Ooh.
like,
Good
garlic
question.
and all that kind of shit.
Well, the question is, are they avoiding garlic because they're vampires? Or
Well,
are
that's
they
what I'm trying to get at here. Is
dosing garlic to stay away from the vampires?
Oh. Yeah.
So the guy who founded them, Teatros de Vampire, formed in 1994. His name is Alejandro Lord Vampire Nunziati.
That's a mouthful.
Lord
He
Vampire.
might. Do you think that was his birth name, or
I bet
might
it was.
have come up with that?
And their first full-length studio album, Scott, Vampirisme, Necrophile, Necrosadisme, Necrophagy. Remember when we were talking about
Okay, so
Well, maybe we don't want to talk about it anymore.
let's break
We
each one
weren't-
of those down.
We weren't
Like,
talking about that.
The name of the album is those 4 words.
Wait a minute. What was the first one again?
Vampirisme,
Oh, yeah, and then the second one, I don't know.
Necrophile,
Okay, so that's the dead.
sex
That's
with
the
the
dead part. Yeah, but vampires are dead.
But
Right?
So all the sex they have is
Dead.
necrophilia.
Yeah.
yeah, but
Or
Yeah, but
you're having
well,
necrophilia
maybe
with
they're
them.
having sex with a living party though. So there's
Yeah.
one part dead, one part life. But what is the next one after that?
Necrosadisme,
Oh,
Which
so
is
that's
probably
like sadomasochism with
only with-
dead.
the dead.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So there's actually 48 pages of female-fronted metal bands on this site here, this FM, Last FM.
Yeah.
That's
But,
impressive.
but that's going to
Pages.
include Taylor Swift and Last FM is
Oh, I
worldwide
don't
very,
know.
very. I mean, it's all over the place.
Let's see
Like
what's
you're going
on
to get
page
Pretty
number 6.
Reckless on there, and
At the Lake,
Yeah, but
Omega Lithium,
metal.
where
Female
Angels Fall.
fronted
This
metal
is all
band.
metal, dude. This is all
okay, so
metal.
might not be Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Within Temptation
but it's
is on the next.
it's definitely going to have
We already
like
talked
Pretty
about
Reckless and like the American quote unquote metal bands that are really just like grungy rock.
Yeah, maybe.
That it'll have like what was that band Chance was talking about last night? Schoolgirls,
I have no idea.
Girl School, maybe.
Don't know them.
Oh,
How
I don't know.
Like a Winter.
How Like a Winter, great
on there.
band. You want to talk about doom? How Like a Winter.
This is page 8, and yeah, there's Girl School right there.
Oh, there you go.
Started in
See, they're
1960.
from
Wow.
like the 70s. What?
Yeah.
What? That's not metal.
Well, and so we're all talking about, yeah. What about baby metal?
Oh, we should talk about baby
Yeah.
metal.
Does that count? I guess it does.
Well, baby metal.
How many singers
the-
are there in Baby Metal? Aren't there like multiple?
Well, there were originally 4, and then it went down to 3 pretty quick, and then there were 2, and I think one just left, so I think they're down to 1. And I think it's Yuki Metal, or Yuki Metal just left, and so they're down to 1, and I think they're trying to recruit some more.
They're probably all aging up and getting married and having kids or something like that.
Could be. I actually don't know why they all started
I
leaving.
bet you that's it. That's
They're really good.
why
They-
Annette left, right? That's Floor had a kid, but still kind of kept going.
Annette had issues with her
I
kid,
thought-
but I don't think that's why she left the band.
I think it was like, yeah, it was a chemistry thing, kind of from what I understood. Like, they
Yeah.
just didn't.
Well, who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
She, if I remember correctly, she took some time off to have a kid, and maybe that's when Floor filled in or something. But I think she came back for a little bit, and then things kind of went south.
Oh,
and she
well, there
left.
you go. That's interesting. That's
Yeah.
maybe what happened.
But so baby metal, this is actually really interesting. So this is this whole genre called it's like
Baby.
what is it called? It's not Lolita metal. Although if anybody wants a trip, just look up Lolita deadlift. Really, really interesting stuff.
Pete, you got this?
Or maybe it's deadlift
I'll
Lolita.
look it up later.
Look
I was
up
going to
Deadlift
say
Lolita.
Yui Metal left due to bad health in 2018 is what it says.
So Yuki metal is the only one left?
Um,
Oh, in 2012? No.
2018.
Oh, okay. I was going to say somebody just left within the last year or two. So I think they're down to 1.
Members, it says Sioux Metal and Moa Metal. That's the current members.
Okay, so maybe there were 4, 2 of them have left, so they're down to 2. I watched a video of them the
Yeah.
other day, and there was only 1 up there singing.
So they're Japanese.
Yeah.
They are Japanese, yes.
What do you like about this band, Luke?
Well, so first of all, like the rhythm, if you listen to some of their stuff, like their rhythms are really, really intense, complicated, and just really heavy, really fast, really driving.
Like technical metal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I wouldn't put it not like technical metal, like
Okay.
like Meshuggah type stuff where every instrument is playing in a different time signature and all that kind of stuff. But technical, like they're very sharp, playing a lot of complicated riffs, right?
Yeah.
And then you have this like fun J-pop element added into it.
Really, it has like J-pop.
Oh
It's
yeah,
interesting hybrid.
yeah. And so let me look it up. There's a term. They aren't the ones credited with inventing this genre, but they definitely are the most popular in it.
I'm looking at a picture.
Kawaii metal. They call it kawaii metal.
That's
Kawaii
cute.
metal.
Yeah,
Cute metal is what kawaii means. Cute.
kawaii means cute.
Yeah.
So for people that don't know, prog metal Pete speaks Japanese. So
Well, some Japanese.
Yeah.
Learning it.
so Pete, give us your favorite Japanese word
Oh boy, on the spot.
on the spot.
Do it, Pete.
Boy, I don't know.
I can give you my favorite in German.
How do you say?
Oishi?
Oishi.
Delicious.
Oh,
I
you
like
probably use
food,
that one a
right?
lot.
Yeah, I like food, so it's
This, for instance, this bourbon sidecar is Oishi.
Hi. So desu ne.
The women here look extremely young. Like, I'm looking at a picture here, and it looks like they're no more than 16 at max.
I would say that's the way most Japanese women look. They just look much younger.
This is a picture from 2015. Man, that was just so young.
I don't know how old they are, but my guess is they're not 16.
Oh, yeah, they're probably 35, but
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah. Anyway, so I mean, just like that whole genre, I would say it's. I'm not gonna sit there and listen to baby metal on repeat for a week straight, like I will with a band like Draconian, but it is really fun to put in some baby metal every once in a while and just headbang, rock out, and listen to that playful interaction between.
It'd probably be a really fun show too.
Yeah,
I think there's definitely an
Sure.
element to what makes a good live show, right?
Fire, Rammstein, Till.
that's what they're.
That's what makes a good live show.
What's their
Gore.
they're known for.
21.
Gore, yeah.
Yui is 21, so they are young. So in that shot, she was like 16,
Oh well,
because
yeah.
that was from 2015.
Well,
There you
lick
go.
my lasagna.
That's crazy.
Yeah. They sing really good, and they do they don't dance per se on stage, but they do moves and motions.
Yeah, it's
you know?
all choreographed.
It's choreographed, but it's not like dancing because they're actually singing. You know, when you see any pop star doing flips.
Oh,
and
well, look,
they're not actually singing.
Guaranteed, they've got a ton of tracks. I bet. I couldn't say for sure, but
Well,
that's the
listen-
way everybody plays now.
Listen to them live, though. You can tell they're actually singing because it's not perfect.
Well, I'm sure they are,
But they also
but
they're not moving a lot.
Yeah.
Right, it's like moving their arms in formations.
Yeah.
It's not jumping around and running across the stage.
Right. They're probably singing with tracks. They're singing on top of tracks. That's the way bands
Sure.
do it now. It's just you play along to a track, basically.
Yeah. You know who doesn't do that? James LeBrie.
Yeah, Dream
James
Theater.
Reed does it.
And sometimes you notice.
Devin
that there's no
Townsend
track.
was forced not to do that.
What do you mean?
On a couple of shows. Like his backing tracks went out.
Oh.
And a lot of people were like, that's the best show we've ever seen. Just do it that way.
It's because Devin Townsend is on another level. I mean,
He is on another
that's
level.
got to be a whole nother podcast. Whole nother episode.
Yeah. Yeah, we should do.
What's our time at now? Should
We're
we-
rolling at 34 minutes.
4 minutes?
I think, do we want to hit a couple news stories?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Maybe hit some news and then
Let's hit some news, and then we're going to have a contest.
Yeah.
And then we'll wrap up.
the main news story today is it's Papa Het's birthday. James Hetfield from Metallica. He is, I think, 57 today.
And it is August 3rd, by the way.
It's August 3rd.
This episode will come out in another week.
Unless you're watching on Twitch.
And then it's live.
Apparently,
live on Twitch.
Apparently, Jerry Cantrell from Alice in Chains weighed in. He said, "What makes James such a great frontman is his physical presence. Nobody else commands the same kind of respect and attention without it being self-seeking or egocentric."
It's interesting.
Well, that's not true.
You bring up Alice in Chains. They were a total. Like, have you listened to their newer stuff?
A little bit.
They came back.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a totally different band, but it's almost borderline metal.
Oh, really?
Right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They heavied up.
It's always been
yeah.
pretty heavy. It's always
Yeah,
been pretty
but
heavy.
I feel
And
like
a lot of like chromaticism. And Alice in Chains music is, I have a lot of respect for the songwriter. The fact that they made what they made work somehow with all those dissonant notes.
Yeah.
Trying to play them in Rock Band is a bitch.
Is it?
Interesting.
Well, no, that is true. I certainly, when I listen to No Excuses, or even things like Man in the Box, I'm not calling that metal. But there's no question they do some weird, dissonant stuff.
Weird stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, James Hetfield was original star of the stock. We instantly transitioned to Alice in Chains.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about Alice in Chains, and I was just saying, like, the transition of that band, like, when they came back, I felt like it was a much heavier.
Yeah, I mean, you could say the same thing about Metallica in a sense. Bands really evolve over time, and you got to see it from their perspective. Because as an artist, you want to challenge yourself and grow, but you're still trying to serve, the demographic that, likes that core sound that you started with, right?
That is a hard.
So how do you keep evolving and moving your art forward, but still making everybody happy? That's a real challenge.
Well, it's certainly a good point. I mean, I would say, Metallica to me is, just very immature metal. It's just not well-developed metal to me. But, so, I mean, maybe it's a good thing that they're developing. Here's what I will give Hetfield, and to a lesser extent, the guitarist. Oh, shit, what's his name?
Kirk Hammett.
Yeah, Hammett. I know a lot of people that got into metal and like actual real metal, but they were influenced by those guys.
Oh, yeah.
And so, you know what? If Hetfield, even if what he's doing, I think is pretty weak, if it's inspiring bands like Dream Theater and Shadow Gallery, that's awesome.
Well,
like, however you get there, you got to get there. So if I'm inspired by my disdain for the Backstreet Boys, and that gets me into, writing music like Insomnia, okay, I'm okay with that.
Well,
thanks, Backstreet Boys.
Metallica is actually the largest selling metal band ever, as far as I'm aware. Over 120 million albums sold.
So
but we also said
popularizing-
commercial success is not quality.
Yeah, but your point is popularizing the style helps. Some of those people will then find other things in the style that they never would have if there hadn't been a popular metal band to lead them there.
That's right. That's what I'm saying I can appreciate about it is...
And, somebody has to be that gateway drug, right? They got to be that transition to pull people in.
It is interesting thought. Like, what does the average progressive metalhead think about a band like Metallica? I don't even know. I mean, for myself, like, I have to reference them a lot, on Instagram and stuff because they're such a point of reference for metal.
Yeah.
They literally, Metallica almost is the same word as metal.
Right.
It's, the word's in there. And they're just so ubiquitous every corner of the world. I think they really, in the early 90s, they went on tour for like over 2 years for the Black Album. And they just really hit every corner of the world. So that's probably one of the reasons why their brand's so pervasive.
It might also be why metal is more popular in the rest of the world.
Yeah, for sure. And
not everybody else was going to all the corners of the earth.
Yeah.
That is true. I mean...
What about Megadeth? What do you think about Megadeth?
Well, so I actually like Megadeth, certainly more than Metallica.
Like more than Metallica.
I think Mustaine when he wrote music as Metallica, like he was going for something. You could tell Mustaine was influenced by something else.
Definitely. He again with Mustaine, like his songwriting style is. I think he actually knows some music theory too. This is what I've heard. But yeah, he's more adventurous in his songwriting structure. He pulls from those chromatic notes more. And yeah, he may be, what's the word, innovated a little bit more within the space.
Yeah, the first song I ever heard from him was Fade to Black.
Metallic, yeah. Right.
So I was forced to watch these videos about how metal music is evil when I was a kid. They were trying to like rid me of my love of metal.
What was the name?
What was the name of it?
VHS? Yeah, it was like a VHS
Chance
tape.
to know this.
Right?
He watched it over and over again.
I did too, but
Hell's Bells.
Hell's Bells.
Yeah,
It was called Hell's
It
Bells.
had AC/DC in it.
And it had all of this like, rock music and metal music. And I would watch it telling everybody, yeah, I'm doing it to cleanse my soul. But I was actually watching it to listen to the music. So I was like, this music is so badass.
I didn't get it the first 10 times. Can I see that video again?
Yes, exactly.
In fact, I need 666 spins.
I might need to, watch that 666 times.
Yeah, and so they had a segment there on Fade to Black and how it was like causing everybody to go to commit suicide, which actually the exact opposite happened. But that was the first thing I heard, and I remember thinking like, lyrically, this is a super interesting song because so much pop music, even like 80s metal pop, is about like, I love this chick, or I'm in pain because my chick broke up with me, and I'm like, I just can't.
It's such low-hanging fruit. Everybody can identify with it, but it doesn't represent the higher levels of human flourishing.
Exactly. I'm sitting here like contemplating my own existence, and everybody's worried about this girl that broke their heart, and I'm like, I don't care about your heart. I don't care about my heart. And so,
I don't even care about my own heart.
I'm sitting here having some pretty dark thoughts, and all of a sudden, here comes Dave Mustaine talking about having some pretty dark thoughts, and I'm like, whoa, I can totally relate to this guy. And I wouldn't consider that a metal song, but.
Like he was probably 20 years old when he wrote that. I mean, it's very mature considering his age. It's just mature in general, but
right,
especially considering his age.
And then you get start moving forward. Dave Mustaine also was one of the first, before we had like the internet and all this kind of stuff. He had this song called "A Tout le Monde," which he sang the verse or the chorus in French. And interestingly enough, I was in Haiti one time, and I was big into Megadeth at the time, and A Tout le Monde had French in it, and in Haiti they speak French, and so I was with some people, and they're like, we were addressing a crowd, and they're like, hey, do you want to say anything to these people? And I was like, okay. And I got up there and I gave him a Tout le Monde, which what he says in French is like, to all the world, to all my friends, I love you. I have to leave. I must go. Which it worked out perfectly. Yeah. And the group people, they started like clapping, and I was like, whoo, man. So anyway,
you're like glad they didn't get the music to Haiti because they would have known I was just ripping them off.
Right? Yeah, it's true. So like that level of doing something so interesting, like I'm going to sing this section in French. Just a little thing, right? I'm just going to sing in another very common language. But I was like, whoa, Dave Mustaine does some really cool stuff with his music.
He does.
And so anyway, I certainly like Megadeth more than Metallica. But again, both of them, I mean, so many other bands, mostly like European bands, and some South American and Asian bands, have just so surpassed them in terms of metal quality. But again, roots and all that shit.
Yeah. I think maybe you said it, the gateway drug. It is worthwhile, maybe even just if someone's coming from a different background, like maybe they like country music or something. It might be a bit easier of a transition in some ways, to go through that. Maybe not though. Like something like Nightwish, I think would be more palatable.
Way more palatable. Yep.
Yeah, in a certain sense.
But then the question is, why aren't those bands more visible in the community? That's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah, I think we should not get into that on this episode. I think we should definitely spend an episode though on like why is some of this more technical, like higher quality from a technical standpoint stuff not as popular.
Yeah. Yes. Sure. And we should have on, what should we call him? Suzerain Sam. Suzerain Sam. We should have him on because he actually has firsthand knowledge of trying to convert somebody to metal, into like progressive metal. And like his experience with trying to convert them is brilliant. So we should have him on the podcast.
A testimonial, like in reverse, though.
Yes.
It didn't work.
Yeah. Why?
Yeah.
What are the barriers to getting people into metal?
Genetics is one of them.
Genetics.
It could come down to genetics, but his story is fascinating. Oh. So we should have him tell it on air.
All right. And with that, I think we've covered what we needed to cover, huh?
Totally. So just a couple of things upcoming. You guys are going to want to tune in, start following us. Instagram, Great Metal Podcast. You can email us at greatmetalpodcast@gmail.com. Definitely look out for future episodes dropping. We've got contests coming up with free prize giveaways. It's gonna be a good time.
And you can DM us, if you have a topic that you want us to discuss or something like that.
Yeah, shoot us
DM us on Insta.
On Insta,
good way to do it.
Or shoot a question to that email as well. But
yeah,
do subscribe to the Instagram. We also post videos of the podcast there if you like to watch along.
Yeah.
Boom.
All right. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Have yourself a good night.
Rock and roll.